Tourism is a vast industry with an infinite number of different sectors and subsectors. The variety of reasons and places to travel is only as broad and diverse as the human imagination. A branch everyone has heard of is most definitely religious tourism. Its origins are ancient, and even so, people nowadays continue traveling to visit holy cities and sites. However, there is a different type of pilgrims that some might not know about, the talking tourists. This niche market is a relatively new concept, but in the past 10 years it has grown to the phenomenon it is nowadays and generates millions of dollars. People from all over the world are traveling thousands of kilometers to visit places connected with the famous English writer J.R.R. Tolkien, as well as to his books. Let us begin our journey in Oxford, where the author lived, worked, and created his legendary fantasy world. In the city there are special tours offered to groups that take them to the college where he had studied and to the one that he had been working at as a professor of English literature, and then to the pub, the Eagle and Child, where he and a group called the Inklings he had been a part of alongside writer C.S. Lewis had their literature gatherings. After that, the tour proceeds to his old home and even to the cemetery where the tomb in which Tolkien and his wife were buried lays. But this is just a minor part of the big picture. Switzerland is exploring ways of attracting tourists by claiming to be the main source of the author's inspiration for writing his masterpieces. Nowadays, there is a talking museum and a Middle-earth themed tour through the magnificent Alps. It has gone so far that there are tourists visiting South Africa, the place where the writer was born, and even his father's tombstone has become a must-see site for them. South Africa is focusing on attracting those people, and even though the novelist actually spent but the first 3 years of his life there, the country is proud of the fact. But what made an enormous change by popularizing this type of tourism and brought millions of dollars to one country? Yes, the 3 films made by famous director Peter Jackson that brought J.R.R. Tolkien's books to life, or to be exact, the Lord of the Rings trilogy. The country? New Zealand, home of the creator of the movie sequence. This is now known as the world's biggest free marketing promotion. The annual tourist influx rose from 1.7 million in the year 2000 to the outstanding 2.4 million in 2006. At first, tour agents were caught unprepared for the sudden rise of interest and were overwhelmed by the amount of visitors that wanted to see the set of the films. They quickly adapted, and nowadays talking tourism is a major part of their business. The national tourism slogan, 100% pure New Zealand, has become 100% Middle-earth. Tours are offered for more than 30 locations where the actions in the films took place. Cape Oak Regional Park, that is located near the capital city Wellington, became Rivendell, home of the High Elves, and Queenstown was the setting for numerous scenes, including the Argon Hills and the Pillars of Argonath. But undoubtedly, the biggest attraction is situated at the rolling hills of Matamata, Hobbiton, the home of merry folk, the halflings, and of course of the 2 main protagonists of Tolkien's books, Frodo and Bilbo Baggins. After reaching a steady level through the past decade, the number of talking tourists coming to New Zealand is now off to reach an ever higher peak after a new film adaptation made by Peter Jackson based on The Hobbit, the book that is a prequel to the Lord of the Rings saga. And this time it will have an even greater value, as the set for the town of Hobbiton consists of real buildings that are built to stay. The previous films have been so beneficial to the country that the threat of not having the new ones made the government pay the producers to ensure such a thing would not happen. Now they are in a strategic alliance that includes each side promoting the other. But what makes people come to such lengths in the name of a writer and his books? Some say that Tolkien was like a shepherd who led them into a world that they had never even fantasized about. And this is the reason. Ever since the idea of heaven first came to men, we had all been wishing to experience a dream. Having the chance to step into a different world and escape from our everyday lives is a basic concept of tourism. And some people, they just like to take it a little further. They enter a fantasy world and manage to actually, even though for just a little bit, escape the grasp of reality itself.